And we are recording. Hello and welcome back to the podcast before time, a special edition. Today is the birthday celebration of the 37th anniversary of the original movie. We got a whole bunch of stuff to do today. We are going to summarize the 10th movie, read some fan fiction, rank some movies, do a little Q&A, and maybe more. I don't know, but it really depends on what we get into today. So grab your popcorn, grab your drinks, and let's get this party started. So today's episode is actually going to be coming out 2 days after the anniversary of the movie, the anniversary celebration. We're going to be doing an award show that will be done on Tuesday. That was done on Tuesday at the time of this video coming out. And it was really, really fun to plan. And honestly, this was just literally something I just randomly thought of, and I'm like, why don't we do this? So I was talking to my team, and they said that that would be a good idea. So also I want to take part of this episode to talk, because I wanted this to be a long episode. So obviously we're gonna be talking about some things that aren't Land Before Time related, just because I want to give y'all a further insight into what life and stuff. So, but it's not going to be the whole episode. There's going to be some Land Before Time stuff too, but and I want to start by thanking everyone for voting in the awards. We've gotten. Hold on, I can pull it up in a second. Let me just. We've gotten over 100 submissions for the the podcast, not the podcast, the award show. So so thank you so much for that. That's literally incredible. And like I said, it's been really fun to plan. But anyways, um my Instagram, go down to the Land Before Time fan club Instagram. 100 likes. I love it when people spam likes. Nobody cares. Please do not spam my page. Like that's so annoying. It's also been 2 months, almost 3 months since we hit 50K. And it's also about time that I update my bio. I'll do that after the episode. Just because I have the podcast, the fanfiction pulled up and all, so there's that. But let's do a little Q&A to start off. A little Q&A. All right. All right. The first question is, what is my favorite movie in the Land Before Time series? Okay, so my favorite movie would have to be, I think my favorite is probably 4. I like number 4. I like 5 as well. Also like the original, but if we're counting like only sequels, then I'm gonna have to say 4. But if we're counting like all the movies, probably still 4. Either 4 or either 5, but definitely not 13. Um, so in today's episode, we're starting to get into the movies that aren't as good, honestly. Compared to like the other ones, like 1 through 5 were great, 6 and 7 were all right, 8 was good, 9 was okay, 10 was like it wasn't like horrible, but it wasn't like good, you know. And I like the storyline, but I feel like they could have done a better um could have gone a better way of doing it. And honestly, this is literally the last like all right Land Before Time movie. And I'm not saying 11 through 14 were that bad, but they're not that good, honestly. Which which is one thing that kind of makes me not want another Land Before Time movie. I mean, I mean, just because I feel like they've pretty much Universal has pretty much like ruined the series, you know? Because it's like they had like the first movie was amazing. And then they sold it to Universal and they started to put out a new movie every year. And it was okay. Like 2 through 4, great. 5, great. 6, and 7, and 8, okay. 9 was okay. 10 was okay. But then it was like they started to get just like it felt like instead of it felt for the longest time they were going for quantity over quality, and it got to a point where it was just like that not that good anymore. And the new animation style doesn't help, honestly. Because honestly, after the 10th movie, the animation style started to get like really like cheesy, and it's like, and now there's a fucking song after every time they do something. It's like so annoying. But, and it's like, why? Why? Like, you had a perfect animation style. Like, why did you just decide to do that? And even like, and even between 10 and 11, you can see the difference between all of the characters and like the animation style and stuff. And there was only a 2-year difference between 10 and 11. And don't even get me started on Wisdom of Friends. And then we had the latest one, Journey to the Brave, Journey of the Brave. And it's like it's a whole different animation style. And and I'm wondering if it's like because it's like different people like heading it every time, especially this latest movie. Of course there hasn't been a new Land Before Time movie since 2016, but this, I noticed that this one had quite a different like lineup than everyone else. And I know Andy McAfee and Arya Curzon came back. And they had a new Littlefoot, and Jeff Bennett, of course, was there. Rob Paulson was there. Like there was quite a bit of people that were still there, but like like Journey of the Brave had a whole new director and a whole new writers for the entire series, and it's like, yeah. So while I'm not like super sold on the fact of wanting a 15th movie, I also feel like at this point it's been almost 10 years. I think it would be nice to have another adventure or so with the five with our five friends and everyone else. But at the same time, I feel like 11 or 4, especially 11 through 14, weren't really showcasing the, it didn't feel like the same series that I grew up on. And ironically, um the 11th movie came out about 4 days before I was born in 2005. So technically, the first 11 movies were already out by the time I was born, and then 12 came out in 2006, 13 came out in 2007. There was a random TV series in the middle of it, and then we go like 9 years without almost 9 years without a new movie, and then voila, here's number 14. It's called Journey of the Brave. I'll see you in February. Like, what? Seriously? Why? Why was this a good idea? And I mean, honestly, I was happy that the new Land Before Time movie came out because I watched Land Before Time on VHS. I had no idea they were still making new movies. And then the new one came out in 2016 and I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they're making new movies." And then I watched it and I'm like, "This ain't the same shit I watched in 2007." I was talking too fast. I choked on air. But yeah, it's like so if you ask me my honest opinion, as much as I really want new Land Before Time movies, but I wish they would slowly age them up. And maybe they can like continue the story, but they can like age up, you know? And if it wasn't for my absolute love of the franchise and the and even just the characters themselves, I probably wouldn't want a the series to continue, but and but at the same time it's all of them just all of them just being there, and it's like, oh, we hit 59K, that's cool. Apparently we hit 59K a while ago, and I'm just wondering about it because apparently we now have almost 59.6 members. Bro, this person not even in the group, and she posts all the time like, bro, join the group. Like, I know it's public, but if you're gonna post in it like every day, just click the damn join button. And I'm not saying this because I honestly because I care about the number of members we have, because I don't, but it just doesn't make sense. If you're going to post in the group like almost every day, sometimes multiple times a day, just join the damn group. It's not that hard to press a join button. Or just don't post. I don't give a shit. But please don't go anywhere. I love you. So that's that. That's my little rant. Let's summarize the 10th movie. Okay, so The Land Before Time 10, The Great Longneck Migration, was released on December 2nd, 2003. And the plot is Littlefoot has an ominous sleep story or dream where he sees the great circle, the sun. I thought it was the bright circle. Did they change that too? Falling out of the sky, and when he mentions it to his grandparents, they reveal they are sharing the same experience, with his grandpa lamenting that they need to go somewhere. Littlefoot explains his situation to his friends, and they become interested, led only by their instincts, and they leave the next day. Out of curiosity, Sarah, Spike, Ducky, and Petrie follow them. During their trek, Littlefoot is nearly eaten by a Sarcosuchus. What is a Sarcosuchus? Oh, some kind of alligator crocodile dinosaur while playing in a swamp, but a supersaurus named Sue saves his life by stepping on the predator and joins him and his grandparents. As she is driven on by the same sense as them, they are soon joined by dozens of other longnecks feeling the same instincts. Meanwhile, Littlefoot's friends are attacked by the Sarcosuchus, or the crocodile thing, in the same swamp that Littlefoot and his grandparents passed through, but they manage to escape. That night, they sleep next to a large boulder, which the next morning turns out to be a sleeping gray Daspletosaurus, which is a sharp tooth, which wakes up and chases them. They escape into a cave and meet Pat, an elderly Apatosaurus. Littlefoot, his grandparents, and Sue reach a large crater where hundreds of longnecks have gathered. There he meets his long-lost biological father, Braun, for the first time. Braun tells Littlefoot how he was separated from Littlefoot's mother during the Great Earthshake in the first film. During his wanderings in search of Littlefoot, Braun became the leader of a herd of longnecks and the guardian to a young, mischievous Brachiosaurus, Shorty, who becomes jealous of Littlefoot, taking all his father's attention. Meanwhile, Pat tells Littlefoot's friends, what the hell is that sound? That the longnecks are being driven by a tradition. Involving a solar eclipse, which was taken as a sign that the sun will be sent crashing down into the earth by the night circle, the moon, which is said to have been jealous of the sun's brightness. Every solar eclipse, longnecks from all around the world gather in one location to stretch their necks up and catch the sun, so they can propel it back up into the sky. Soon after, Pat steps into a pool of lava, which burns his leg badly, but he is still able to move as they escape the lava field. On the day of the eclipse, Littlefoot wakes up to see Shorty traveling over the crater walls and running away. Out of spite for being ignored by Braun, he catches up to Shorty and convinces him to stay. They reconcile and agree to see themselves as brothers. Moments later, Littlefoot's friends appear, with an orange Daspletosaurus pursuing them. Pat defends the children, but is slowed down by his burned leg. Brawn rushes to their aid and is able to temporarily knock out the shark tooth. Then a green Daspletosaurus and the same gray shark tooth from earlier arrive. Littlefoot's grandparents join in the fight and defeat the green shark tooth. Brawn fights the orange shark tooth again, while Pat fights the gray one. As soon as all three shark teeth are defeated, the eclipse begins, and the sudden darkness forces the shark teeth to retreat towards the end. Littlefoot, his grandparents, Braun, Shorty, Sue, and Pat take their place among the other Longnecks who have all gathered on top of the crater walls. They succeed in catching the sun, and everyone rejoices as the eclipse ends. With their mission completed, the different Longneck herds depart on their separate ways. Sue departs with an Ultrasaurus. Littlefoot's friends ask Pat to come live with them in the Great Valley, which he accepts. Littlefoot is initially hesitant in leaving Brawn, as he is the leader of a migratory herd, but he eventually realizes that he belongs in the Great Valley. Accepting this, Brawn leaves with Shorty and his herd, promising to keep in touch with Littlefoot and visit him. Littlefoot returns to the valley with his friends, grandparents, and Pat. So basically, that's the whole yeehaw of the 10th movie. And so basically, it's like they want to have like it's like a solar eclipse, right? And they think it's like they're helping, but really they're just like not. But it's a cartoon. So that's part of the reason. So let me go back and pull up the fan fiction of where we were left off. And when we left off, um, we were just we just found out that Ali's family was about to arrive in the Great Valley. So let's continue from where we left off. Chapter 19. Farewell. Littlefoot and Ali made their way to the meeting place where Ali's herd would soon be arriving. Littlefoot tried to be happy for her, yet he found the task increasingly difficult as they went on. Ali was sad to be leaving her friends again, but at the same time she was excited to be seeing her mother again, though she tried not to show it in front of Littlefoot. Not that it mattered, he was able to guess anyway. As twilight illuminated the valley, they could hear the sound of the herd arriving. Ali wanted to reunite with mother right away. And now it was time. I guess this is it, she said, smiling sadly. You'll say goodbye to the others for me when they wake up, won't you? Littlefoot nodded, wearing the same unhappy grin. Of course I will, he said. You better get going. He nuzzled her shyly. Be careful when you try to stop Toronto. I know you can do it, she warned him. Littlefoot nodded again. By now, the herd was almost in sight, and it was time for the final farewell. "Goodbye, Littlefoot," Allie whispered, starting to move away to the group of Longnecks nearby. "Goodbye, Allie," he replied. She gave him an affectionate lick, and with that she turned away from him and ran off, ready to rejoin her family. Just before she reached them, Allie turned back to see Littlefoot walking away back to his nest. She sighed and walked down to the herd, trying to spot her mother within. Did not take her long to do so. She ran down the small slope toward the group, calling to her mother excitedly. "Mother," she cried, "I'm over here, Mother." Allie's mother turned her great head to see a sight that filled her aging heart with happiness and her tired eyes with tears of rejoice. Her daughter ran down the hill just as the bright circle light crept over the top of the great wall. "Allie," she called back, overjoyed, "is that really you?" Mother and daughter ran toward each other and met in the middle. The other members watched as the larger Longneck nuzzled the smaller. From the edge of the forest, Littlefoot watched the reunion. He was happy for his friend, yet he could not help but feel a little stab of jealousy that Allie should be able to share happiness with her mother, while he had nothing but two grandparents who would not live much longer. Damn Littlefoot. However, he banished these thoughts from his mind, knowing it was not fair to Allie for him to feel like this. After all, it was not her fault, and in any case, he knew he should not be so bitter about it anyway. But as the herd left the valley, eager to return to their wandering trail, Littlefoot was unable to stop a few tears from escaping his eyes. It had been a few hours since Allie's departure, and a depressed Littlefoot was now waiting for his friends to wake up and meet with him here at Shelter Rock. The last time Allie had left, Littlefoot had not been depressed for long because he was so relieved to see his grandpa standing again. With this, he had no distractions. Not only that, but Allie had also stayed for a lot longer than she had the last time, and he had thought she would stay forever. At last, he saw Petrie flying over the hills, heading toward him. "Hey, Petrie," Littlefoot greeted him once the flyer had landed. "Nice to see you." Petrie approached with a very nervous look on his face. "What's wrong?" Littlefoot asked. "Well, me can't play today," he said, having decided to help his uncle at the Smoking Mountain. "Me just came to tell. Bye." "Petrie, wait." Littlefoot stopped him. Petrie could detect urgency in his voice and wondered what was wrong. "What's the matter?" he asked. "I have some bad news, so could you just wait for the others to show up?" Littlefoot asked. Petrie sighed in annoyance, but he nodded in agreement. Soon enough, Sarah, Ducky, and Spike arrived together, having met up on the way. Hey guys," Sarah called to them, not noticing their somewhat less than happy faces at first, but then she caught sight of them and realized all was not well. "Something wrong?" "Kinda," Littlefoot said. "I have something to tell you guys." "Should we not wait for Allie?" Ducky asked. "That's just it," Littlefoot replied. "Her herd came to collect her earlier this morning, and she had to leave." Everyone was shocked by the news. To have their friend leave was one thing, but for her to leave without them getting to say goodbye was terrible. And she couldn't even stop. say goodbye? Sarah asked, feeling a little betrayed. There wasn't time, Littlefoot explained. She didn't want the grown-ups of the valley to know that she had come here alone, and the herd was impatient to get back on the trail again. So they had to leave right away. She did say she'll miss all of you, though. This was hardly any consolation as the group, back down to 5, now sat there, wondering when they would meet their friend again. Littlefoot and the others decided to spend the day apart. Petrie went to help Toronto. Sarah and Ducky decided to play together. Spike went back to sleep, and Littlefoot wanted to be alone with his thoughts. Everything seemed so perfect yesterday, he thought to himself, as he climbed up the slope leading to Peacekeeper's Ledge. Even this thing with the lost souls wasn't so bad, but now Allie's gone. I just feel depressed and exhausted. Littlefoot never felt tired when he played with his friends, but whenever he was alone, just after he had had to say goodbye to his friend, he felt drained. What do I do now? He wondered, looking out to the bright circle as its light slowly masked by the clouds around it. Out in the mysterious beyond, Allie's herd continued onward. As they walked, Allie explained to their mother that she had simply been separated from the herd by a pack of shark teeth. Having narrowly escaped them, she had found herself close by the great valley. And had decided to stay there until the herd returned. Her mother was horrified for her young daughter's safety when she heard the part about the shark tooth, and was now even more relieved to have her back safe and sound. I'm just glad to see you safe and sound again, her mother said, nuzzling her daughter tenderly. Allie welcomed this affectionate gesture, something she had not been able to do for nearly 2 weeks now. And I'm glad to be back with you and the others, Mother, Allie said. But as they walked onward, she could not help but feel a little homesick for the home that was not hers. So, Allie's gone. Yeah, Allie's gone. I say it like she died. She didn't die, she just left. Um, and you can't really help but to, feel like bad for Littlefoot in this particular situation because because he thought that Allie was going to be there forever, and then but yeah, let's continue. Chapter 20: The Danger of Water. A month passed following on from Allie's departure. Littlefoot, Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, and Spike did not see much of each other for the first few days. But time always has moved on, even when we do not want it to. As the days turned into weeks, Petrie started to spend more time with his friends again, and Littlefoot, Ducky, and Spike started to forget all about the lost souls. It seemed things had returned to the ways they once were. But the peace they had experienced was not to last. Like, oh no, there's some shit's about to go down. So let's go. Ollie's herd had put some considerable distance between the valley and themselves in the last 4 weeks. It had not taken Allie long to return to their old familiar lifestyle, and as time went on, she began to miss her friends less. One night, the herd was sleeping in a large forest. Though the children slept, the elders were awake and continued to talk through the night. Allie was also awake, though trying to settle down. Allie, all of a sudden, she heard the adults talking about the lost souls, Toronto and the Great Valley. Getting the feeling of deja vu, she sneaked over to them and listened into the conversation. Do you do you think Toronto could actually get to the lost souls? One of them was asking. I doubt it, another replied. It's almost impossible to get through either entrance. Toronto will try to get through, but he'll give up eventually. Ali stopped, listening for a moment. So there are two ways into the cave, she thought. I wonder if the grown-ups know where they are. She continued to listen, and though they did not speak of the entrances, she was sure that they knew where they were. If she could just figure out their locations and find some way to send a message to Littlefoot, it would be a big help to him and Ducky. Eventually, the adults started to settle down, knowing that she was not going to discover anything more tonight. Allie returned to her sleeping place, planning to ask her mother about the entrances soon enough. She would have to pretend she was just curious or something in order to allay any suspicion. With that settled, she soon fell asleep, wondering what tomorrow would bring. Things were not going well for Toronto, since the tunnel had caved in again and again. Thanks to the recent earthquakes, he and the other flyers had taken too long to dig through, and now the lava was starting to rise for the second time, sealing off the cave once again. Barely able to control his temper, Toronto ranted on for the good part of an hour about how the forces of nature were working against him. Perhaps it would be better to go in by the tunnel in the river, Ark whispered to Rex, while Toronto continued on, oblivious to all. You would think, Rax replied, but you know it's impossible for our kind to travel through water. It would take us too long to reach the tunnel, and we would drown. We're just going to have to wait for the firewater to sink. Ark knew all of this, but he was so tired of waiting around, he was ready to throw caution to the wind. I've had enough of them. I've had enough of this, he thought to himself. Forget Toronto. I'm going to go down that tunnel tonight and claim the power for myself. So this is happening. He's trying to claim the power for himself, but is he going to succeed? Well, we'll find out. That night, Ark made his way to the Thundering Falls and followed the river downstream until he was near the Smoking Mountain. He stared into the inky black waters, trying to catch a glimpse of the tunnel through the shadows. At first, he could see nothing, but then winds pushed the clouds away from the sky, and the great night circle illuminated the valley. Now, Ark was able to see the tunnel clearly. He took a deep breath and plunged into the waters. The river was fairly swift, and he found it difficult to fight the current. He struck out for the hole and only just managed to grab the side. He then pulled himself into the hole, too absorbed with achieving ultimate power to think about his burning lungs. The fool should have surfaced to breathe, but he did not. He tried to pull himself down through the tunnel, but now he was starting to feel the lack of oxygen. He decided to go back. He tried to turn around, but the tunnel was too narrow. Panicking now, he tried to push himself backward. However, his panic kept him from thinking straight. Unable to hold his beak, Unable to hold his breath any longer, he opened his beak and breathed in deeply, only to draw water into his lungs. He started to choke and let go of the sides of the tunnel. As he started to float further and further away from his goal, he felt his life ebbing away from him. The water carried his now lifeless body out of the tunnel, along the river, and out of the great valley. He had been foolish, and it was that same foolishness which lost Toronto an ally. The next morning, Allie attempted to get the information she needed following on from breakfast. As the herd was continuing to move through the forest, she spoke to her mother. Mother, she asked, do you believe in the legend of the lost souls? Her mother, naturally, was confused and wondered what could prompt her daughter to ask her this question. Why do you ask? She replied. The legend is kind of interesting, but I don't know that much about it, she replied. This was enough to satisfy her mother's suspicions. Well, I do believe in the legend, she answered, just as most of the herd do. What exactly would you like to know about it? Allie asked her a few questions, other than the whereabouts of the entrances first, just to appear inconspicuous. She asked about the story behind the legend, and what sort of power the lost souls would bring. Then she came to the real thing. Also, she continued, how exactly would someone get into the cave? Luckily, her mother saw no threat in telling Allie this, and so she happily answered the question. Well, dear, she began, it is said that there are two ways into the cave, the path of fire and the path of water. There is a smoking mountain in the valley, and the path of fire is said to be inside it. It is a small tunnel which leads from the base of the mountain straight into the cave. That was one. And the path of water, she asked. Sorry. Just a minute. The path of water is a tunnel that leads in from a river that flows through the very middle of the valley. Both entrances are very difficult and very dangerous to get through. Ali asked a few more questions about the legend and finally dropped the subject. Soon enough, the herd stopped for a break near a small pond. Ali went off by herself for a bit to think about the information her mother had given her. It was certainly a step in the right direction, but there was no point in knowing unless she could find some way of telling either Littlefoot or Ducky. Still, it was definitely a start. Her thoughts were suddenly interrupted when a scream came from the direction of the herd. Allie ran through the trees to see a pack of shark teeth attacking the herd. Before she could run away, she found one raptor behind her, blocking off any chance of escape. In the Great Valley, Toronto had returned to the Smoking Mountain with Rax and even Petrie for once. They were going to try and think of a way to dig through the rocks faster. Otherwise, it would take many rises and falls of the lava for them to get through. It was not long before they started to wonder where Ark was. What take him so long? Petrie wondered aloud. Rax remembered what Ark had said the day before. He doubted that Ark had actually gone through with it. He did. but now he decided to tell the others. Art said something last night about going down the water tunnel by himself. He said, I didn't think he was serious, but he was getting tired of waiting for the fire water to drop. No, Toronto protested. He could not have been so stupid. He knows how dangerous water is to us. He wouldn't dare try to go through the river entrance. Rack shook his head, sadly, now certain that his friend was dead. You didn't know him as well as I do, he said. Ark always was impatient and never wanted to take a warning too seriously. There was silence for a moment as the three flyers wondered what to do. Two clubtails walked by. As they walked, they overheard them talking to each other. That's right, one of them was saying. I saw it with my own eyes. The other shook its head in disbelief. You saw a flyer diving into the river last night. I don't believe it for a second. I'm telling you, I saw it with my own. By now, they had walked out of earshot of Petrie and the others, but they had heard all they needed to know. They each bowed their heads in mourning for their companion. Alas, Ark has been taken from us, Toronto said, like a minister conducting a funeral. We will never forget how he lost his life in a brave attempt to release the lost souls from their imprisonment. And when we do free them, I am confident they will show their gratitude for what he did. Though Toronto was obsessed with magic and power, he did have a heart. As the Flyers gave their last respects to Ark, he shed tears just as Rax and Petrie did. So yeah, that's basically it. Not for the episode. The episode's not over yet, but it's it. That's it for Ark. He dead. He dead dead. He ded dead. He dead. But like, what's going to happen with the um the quest for the lost souls now? Um, will they succeed? Probably not, because it's not real. I don't think it's real. Let me fill up my take a minute, fill up the bathroom. We are currently 53, little over 53 minutes into the episode. We still got a bit to go. But yeah, this episode's going to it's definitely going to be quite over an hour. I'm just not quite sure how over an hour that we are going to do, because I still want to do group shoutouts. Also, I want to do group shoutouts. I want to do Q&A, some more Q&A. And yeah, so let's do group shoutouts. Q and after I come back from the bathroom, because I gotta pee. TMI, I know, I'm sorry. We are going to do a little not non Land Before Time related Q&A. We're gonna do group shoutouts. We're gonna and then we're gonna do the outro. And like I said, thank you so much for like voting in and participating in the awards. Congratulations to all our winners. Congratulations to the recipient of the Land Before Time Fan Club Honor Award, our good friend Candace Hudson. Congratulations. All right, let's do some Q&A. Um we're gonna do 15. How many do you want to do? Let's do 20. Let's do 20 Q&A questions. Question number 1. Have you ever Googled yourself or a family member? I have Googled myself before. And when I type in my like real name, like hold on, let me Google myself real quick. We'll do it right now. Let's type in all right, I'm going to type in my real name, and it's some random actor guy who apparently has the same name as me. And my Facebook page is like one of the, you scroll down a little bit and there's my Facebook page. That's weird. All right, what happens if I put in the will cut in my name? Let's see what happens there. My oh, that's funny. That's funny. If you search up my Facebook name, um if you search up my Facebook name or my online name, my Caleb Lane Willcutt name, the first two pictures that pop up are of Candace. I think that's weird. Um, and then there's some group photos and my current profile pic, and a bunch of random guys I don't know who might have my same name. One of the search suggestions is Kiefer Brown. Um, which is a bunch of like artwork that was shared from the group. Still profile, and here's like all my profile pictures and stuff. Somehow some group photos, somehow Candace ended up on. That's so weird. I'm totally gonna have to tell her about that. That's so weird. That's literally weird. That's so weird. All right, now let's try to search up my it's Caleb Lane username. We got my Instagram, my YouTube, my Facebook, my Pinterest, my TikTok, my Facebook, my YouTube. A bunch of people that ain't me. my Threads account that I never use, some more YouTube videos. All right, let's look up images. Literally nothing. None, like, only there's like a couple of photos of like my TikTok, but other and like some YouTube stuff, but other than that, I don't see anything. Question number 2. How many times a day do you check your Facebook? I check my Facebook at least probably like 2 or 3 times an hour, so maybe like 50 50 times a day. I need to get better at it, but when I'm sitting on my ass doing nothing, that's what it is. Number 3. Did you ever fail a subject in school? If so, what class? I failed algebra and had to retake it the following year. Name your alter ego. That is actually a cool question. Personally, I don't really consider myself to have an alter ego. Like, actually, like, I don't think I actually have an alter ego, but I did create an alter ego, which is basically my name spelled backwards. So it's my first name spelled backwards, followed by my last name spelled backwards. It's Bella Kinnell, um, which is Caleb spelled backwards, and then it's Lane spelled backwards, Bella Kinnell, and that's sort of like my dark, mysterious alter ego. I thought about making my stage name that, but that didn't work out, so I just went with plain old Caleb Lane. So yeah. Right. What number was that? That was number 4. So number 5, can you solve a Rubik's Cube? Absolutely not. What blood type do you have? So I have O negative, whatever that means. Um, and I heard that that's like the universal blood type that like everyone cares about. Number 7, lucky number 7. How often do you reevaluate your life? It depends. Sometimes I'll think about it like every day, and other times I'll go like a whole like month or two without thinking about it. So it's like, all right, what's your favorite place to just hang out? I love going to the bookstore, which we'll talk about all the books I had in a minute. Um, yeah. Have you ever made your own orange juice? I have not. I thought about it because that seems like fun. However, I have poured orange juice in a cup and left it in a freezer and made orange pop ice. That's so good. Would you rather have endless love or endless money? Endless money, but like in a good way. Like, I don't want to be a billionaire because there's no such thing as an ethical billionaire. Do you have siblings? I do have siblings. I have 2 sisters and a brother. Mm. What's your favorite name for a girl child? What a weird way to phrase that question. So, my girls are gonna be named Judith and Destiny. Um, and for a boy, I like the name Benjamin. I like the name Benjamin. I also like the name Charlie. Um, so yeah. Could you ever be a mortician? Fudge, no. How good is your willpower? I don't have. I'm not sure. I haven't even thought about it. All right. How many pairs of shoes do you own? All right. I'm gonna bore you. I don't have. I have one pair of shoes. I used to have more, but then I'm like, what's the point of having so many different pairs of shoes? I mean, you just put a pair on. Like, if it's not broken, why fix it? A secret. What is a secret you've been wanting to share? Um, I'm trying to think of something that I can tell you that's not like gonna like ruin a future. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you. I'm currently I have I'm currently working on writing and scripting my sophomore album, which is hopefully going to be out in early 2027. I started writing this album. I have written I have written and recorded two songs for it already. Um I can't tell you what it is because that'll ruin the album title because one of the songs I wrote what is the album title as of right now. It might change, but as of right now it's the album title, so I don't want to like give too much away. And I started writing this album, my upcoming second album, like shortly after I finished recording all the bonus tracks for A Letter to My Future Self. So that's cool. What's your favorite popcorn topping? M&Ms. Just put some M&Ms and some popcorn. Delicious. Delicious. Are you being true to yourself? I think so. Although sometimes I'm iffy about it. Have you ever spied on someone via social media? I have, but I'm not going to say who. And honestly, I don't remember. I just know I have. How old were you when you last went trick or treating? Now, Halloween is just over, just finished. And there's this whole debate on like how old you you have to be able to trick or treat. I worded that so weird. Like, how old is too old to trick or treat? Some people are like, as soon as you're a teenager, you should not trick or treat. And others are like, and others like myself are like, I mean, if they're not doing any harm, then it's fine. What's the big deal? Like, and I totally, totally agree with that. Right. Before we do, those are all the questions I'm gonna be answering today. Let's do some group shout outs in just a minute. Right, let's see if there's been any more submissions. There's been one more submission. There's currently, as of right this second, there are 109 submissions to vote for the awards show that is currently happening on the 18th. But by the time you listen to this episode, it lasted 2 days ago. So yeah. Also, we're getting more and more information about the upcoming new Littlefoot short film that is a fan film. They're good. And I don't know like a whole bunch about it, just what Joey has been like sharing with us. And there's a train. There's a train. There's literally a train literally every day. It's so annoying and it's so loud. And I'm close to the train tracks, but I'm not that close, but I'm close enough to be to where you can hear literally everything. So I'm really loving seeing all the fan art that is being made, especially when it's like actual like art. Like that's so cool. I just saw this. That is so sad. Somebody posted that they miss Judith Barcy so much. I do too. I miss her. That's sad. You, you're gonna make me cry. I'll wait until you get off camera. Um, oh no, there's these ugly from the I want to conclude by talking about a post because I have to like s- stop soon because I have show to get to. Um, the possibility. One of one of my adminers, that's not even a word, says made a post the other day talking about the possibility of a continuation has been discussed a lot. But do you have any ideas for who you choose to play the Paleo Pals and any extended cast members? Would you age them up in a future installment, or would you prefer to maintain the status quo with regard to their intermittent age? So so I had a answer to that, obviously. I said Arya and Andy for Sarah and Ducky. They still can do it, especially if we age them up. Don't fix what isn't broken. Jeff Bennett for Petrie, again, same thing. Not sure for Littlefoot and everyone else. And he replied, having heard Juliana's performance as Princess Spiderbite in Star versus the Forces of Evil, she could still pull off a slightly older version of Allie all these years later. And, and I replied, oh, absolutely. I just don't know if she would want to. Andy and Arya have both expressed their desire to return. And then he replied, that's a good point. I'm not sure who else I'd choose to play her or Littlefoot. I mean, besides the current Littlefoot, that is. I'm looking forward to her performance. He's talking about current the voice of Littlefoot in the upcoming fan short film. Shout out to her. I'm sure she's gonna do incredible. And then another comment I made is also they should age up slowly. I don't think they should be kids at 14 and full blown adults at 15. And then he replied, agreed. I like at least a couple movies with them as teens. Absolutely. Another member commented, personally, I'd rather stick to the status quo's approach, but that doesn't mean you can't write a book as a follow up at the end of all 14 movies. Another commented, they should be teenagers. They've had a lot of movies as kids, and it would be interesting to see what they go through when they are bigger. another person commented, "At first I thought there were two Littlefoots," meaning Littlefoot and Allie. And then another commenter said, "I say they return to old sequel settings and build of those, for example, returning to the Mysterious Island, Saurus Rock, or the Land of the Mist. Only problem is, I'm sure if they were to renew the series, they would use CGI or do a live-action remake. I hope the fuck not." And that's basically it. So I hope you enjoyed this um special edition of the podcast. This has been fun. We did go a little bit longer this week because we are trying to make a special episode, considering it was just the 37th anniversary of the first movie, and honestly, that's so weird. Like, but anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Next week's episode, we will continue the fan fiction, summarize the 11th movie, and other stuff as well, whatever I decide to do. But those are the two main things that are going to be happening for the next episode. No new episode next week. We'll see you in December. Bye, y'all.